male reproductive system, so we're pretty much done here. So we'll dissect out the male reproductive system on Thursday. All right, what you can see here, up here in the abdominal cavity, we just have a couple that are going to be found down here, and then we're going to go on the leg, and we'll be done in 10 minutes. This right here is a nice ureter. So in case you're kind of wondering, or I know that I already mentioned digging out the ureters, this right here is a really nice ureter. And following the ureter, you're going to see this little red thing, red artery right here.
I can't.
That's testicular.
Can you move it closer to the light? I can't really see it.
To the light? Right there. Okay, there we go. So I'll move it back down when I get down into this. But here's the ureter, and it dims when I put my hand in. See, so it adjusts the light, and I can't really do much about that. All right, so here's the ureter. All right, and then here is the testicular. So this is a really good view of what that testicular looks like if you don't have a male. All right, so we had kind of wrapped up with kind of finding that iliolumbar. It's been a while. But the iliolumbar is right here. He's going to be this guy that's coming across the lower muscular wall of the back here. And then what we want to do is we want to continue to follow down our abdominal aorta. And so as we come down to the abdominal aorta, this is the abdominal aorta here. This guy that's coming down is going to be my inferior mesenteric, if you remember. Okay, inferior mesenteric is going to come back and connect to my colic, which is right here, and then loop back around way up here to that superior mesenteric. Okay, so here's my inferior mesenteric, and so here is my abdominal aorta, and we're going to follow him down, and he's going to branch right here. So there's quite a bit of connective tissue here, but you're going to see this kind of fork in the road, way down here, and over. There they are. All right, this branch here, okay, and this branch here that make that fork right here, that's going to be my external iliac. I come down here, it's going to fork again. Okay, so it forks again down here. So there's a branch, and then it forks down here, way down close to where the rectum is. And that fork that you see way down there, that is the internal iliac. Okay. Now, deep down right here, if you see the branch, this one's going to be hard to probably visualize. I'll draw it up here on the board here in a second. But there's one that's going to come down and branch off of that internal iliac, and we call that one the caudal. And he kind of hugs the bones, the lower vertebrae, so it's hard to kind of grab him and loop him. But that's the caudal right down there. So that red one that you see deep going straight down, that's the caudal right there. Okay, so it looks kind of like this. So even though you can't see it terribly well, what you're going to get is, I'm going to move it down here so I can draw it on this cat just a little bit, kind of show you exactly what's going on. So, yeah, will you move back? Will you come hold back there, rectum, please? Yeah. So look, right here, abdominal aorta. Okay. We come down here. This is the external iliac. It comes down here, and we're going to branch again, and this is going to be the internal iliac, and then you're going to get another branch that's going to go straight down. This is the caudal. Okay? So you've got two kind of forks in the road. External iliac, internal iliac, and this guy's going straight down is going to be the caudal. That kind of makes sense on what you're looking for there. Okay? So that's pretty much it on the abdomen. The leg is really quick and easy. Most everything is already there for you to see. Okay? So again, to just kind of recap, okay, right here, I have my external iliac, I have my internal iliac, and going straight down right there where the probe is touching and pushing, that's going to be my caudal. Kind of move the caudal right back over here. I try to loop him. Can't quite loop him and get him under my probe or above my probe. Okay? So those are pretty much going to be the last of the kind of abdominal arteries and things that that we need to find. And so we're pretty much done. I think we've covered except, a couple of veins that'll kind of follow right along our arteries as we go through. We've covered a couple of these already. Now, as we come out of the abdominal cavity, what you're going to see and you'll see the abdominal wall up here. So as you come up through the abdominal wall, you can actually poke through, and I'm back here inside the abdominal cavity, and I'm pretty much right along the external iliac. So really, if you follow that external iliac out into the leg, that is going to be where we find our femoral. Okay? So right here, right outside of the abdominal wall, it's a little too bright, but maybe it'll help. So if we go back up in here, there's my external iliac, excuse me. And as we follow him out to that abdominal wall, so there I'm poking him again right there, there's the external iliac. As I come right out of that abdominal wall, I now have my femoral. So this is my femoral right here, okay? Femoral is going to be really close to the groin area, all right? So that's my femoral artery there. And then you're going to see one that's going to move to the inside of the groin area right here. He's going to kind of be right around where your pectineus muscle is, if you remember that pectineus muscle. And I've got a nice red and blue one here that are together. I think I can kind of grab a hold of these two guys. Those two guys right there, those are my deep femorals. Okay, right there. Okay. So they're going to branch off of my femoral. Right there. Right at the groin area. Okay. So I've got a little bit of connective tissue. This one may not have injected completely all the way, but right here, those are my deep femorals. My deep femoral artery and vein are going to go off towards where that pectineus muscle is, and the abdominis right there. Okay, so here's my femoral, here's my deep femorals, and once I branch out here into the superficial part of the leg, this is what is called my saphenous. Okay, so now we're in the saphenous region. So we've got our gracilis and our sartorius out of the way here. I've got my femoral up here, my femorals here. These are my deep femorals. And once you cross that deep femoral and you move down into the superficial part of the leg, you can start to see that you have your saphenous. So now if you look at your diagram, 49 is coming down the leg, 47 is going to be your femoral. We're going to come down at 49, and 49 is going to be the saphenous. Okay? So right here, so here's my femoral. This is my nice femoral right in here. I'm going to branch, and this superficial guy right here that we've seen for quite some time, this is the saphenous. It branches, so we'll kind of look at the branching here and rename everybody again. But he branches right here. Okay, so there's a nerve that's going to be traveling along with this guy. And again, that nerve can be removed. It just kind of gets in the way a little bit. And I can see and visualize that saphenous right there. So there's my saphenous vein and my artery right there. Up here, femoral. My deep femorals are right in here. This is my femoral. Where it branches, it becomes two new arteries. This is my saphenous vein and artery. And then this branch that's going down here into the leg, this big one, right there, this little one doesn't matter. Okay, so this little one's not important right here. It's this big one. big one that's going back into the leg is the popliteal. He's gonna go back behind the knee. And so we can kind of move. Okay. You can kind of move that vastus medialis a little bit out of the way here. And you've got lots of little tiny superficial ones here. But you want this big guy that's right there. That big guy right there is your popliteal. And you have the blue vein that's going with him. Now, I'm not going to have you know and dissect out the anterior and the posterior tibial. It's going to require quite a bit of digging. But eventually, this popliteal is going to branch as well. And it branches right down here. So you don't have to dig really far. So as long as you can kind of see the next branching, you've got your anterior tibial and your posterior tibial way deep down in there. And I won't have you go way down in there and dig it out any further. Okay, so right here is where he's then going to branch. So if you can just kind of move a little bit of those semimembranosus just out of the way, you can see where he makes that final branch deep into the leg. And there I can see the little one right here, posterior tibial, and then my anterior tibial is going to go to the front of the leg, which is 51. Okay? All right, so if we come back up here, we have our iliacs again. So I've got my external iliacs, my internal iliacs, and remember my caudal is deep down here. I follow my iliac out of the abdomen and into the leg. From here to about right here, this is my femoral. Right here. Oops, so now move them up here. Okay, so we have things. Okay, there we go. So now I move out of the abdomen into the leg. From here to where it branches, right about here is your femoral. These two tiny ones that are going deep into the kind of groin area, kind of around where that pectineus muscle is, that's your deep femorals, your artery and your vein. Then down here, my femoral is going to branch. And when my femoral branches, it's going to branch into my saphenous artery and vein. And then you want to find the big one. Okay, not these little tiny little ancillary branches, this big one. That's your popliteal artery and vein. And then we have it going to the back of the leg. And we've got the anterior, and we have the posterior tibial right there. You really don't have to go too much further to dig to find that. I mean, you can, but I'm not going to have you dig that far. We have anterior and posterior tibial right there. Okay? Any questions? And that's all the arteries. Femoral piece of trivia information: if that femoral artery actually gets nicked and it gets broken, you can bleed out in about 15 minutes and die. So just FYI. It's a big combat issue, especially if you get shot, that you need to make sure that you've got somebody there or you're close by to a place where you can transport the person quickly or they're gonna bleed out. They have these things that they make now that are called quick clot, and medics carry them with them, and they're packs that they break open and they jam in there and pack it in, and it actually will stop the blood and staunch that blood flow enough. But prior to that, it was a very common combat injury to bleed out from. Any questions? All right, so that's the arteries. That's it. Arteries and veins are done. Everything's done on that page. We just need to come back on Thursday and do the male reproductive system.